Okay, good.
All right. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you all to a new website, or I don't know if we've seen it before, but it's codepen.io. It's a website where developers will share cool projects they're working on, and you'll find a lot of really interesting applications of CSS or JavaScript. Things like slideshows, animations, interactive parts for a site. It's really cool. Sometimes it's just people experimenting. Other times it's people trying to make a name for themselves and building a portfolio online. So you can find some really interesting things. One module that we're going to use today, and if don't worry, like we're going to pass the ball around after we introduce these modules, so that way we can help you guys troubleshoot and build your pages out. But we're going to show a slideshow module that is very minimal code. And then from there, we're going to just kind of give you a few examples of what's on CodePen. And after that, we'll pass the ball around. But I think the slideshow one's pretty easy to implement. So let me share my screen. Okay. So here's the simple slideshow. This is the CSS. So CodePen actually divides HTML, like the elements, the content, with the style, the whatever for the aesthetic. They separate the design and they separate the content, and then the JavaScript if you need anything like interactive or beyond what CSS can do. So this as they would call it, this pen, this has no JavaScript. It's pure CSS, and everything after the body selector, like this, isn't necessary. But here down controls the slides, their position and animation. And basically all you're doing is offsetting the pictures and they cycle through. So without even knowing what this does, you can copy and paste it and it will work. The slide wrapper is the width of everything combined. So the width of every image added together. That's what I believe it is. Like, so 728, that might actually be a little bit less I'm thinking, but no, so basically it's wide. The slides themselves are thinner, and then the slides just kind of go through, and they're actually like they're text. Like you could actually put text in here, but you could swap that out with a picture. And this is the HTML side. So it's just slideshow, a div, another div for the wrapper. So there's two kind of containers, and then you just have your slides inside. So the code basically just slides them, changing their margin, their offset. So I could put in IBIY, you are cool, make a rocket to the moon and beyond. So now this slideshow will reflect what I put. You could put images, you could put text, you could put anything in there. You could technically delete these H1 tags and just put an image, and that will be what slides through. So the way I implemented this, I did a quick experiment to see if it would have any conflicts with other code we have. And it was really straightforward. I created a inline style, so I didn't even put this in my style sheet. I pasted it in. Oops. And then down below, I pasted in my slideshow section. And that was it. And now I have a slideshow. So copy and paste 2 blocks of code. It shows up. You customize the blocks, and it's all set. Besides this example, some other really cool examples that I saw that looked easy enough to implement with copy and paste. I found this cool wave effect that stays on the, well, actually wherever you paste this, but I think this looks cool on the bottom of a site or in between sections. And then there's code for it. Copy, paste, should work. I haven't actually tried this one, so there could be little things that you'd have to adjust, like if there's conflicts with other tags. The biggest conflict you have when you copy and paste code is if the code you're pasting calls the same element you already have. So let's say you on your website use class, the dot wave, you use wave as a class, and this code has wave. You would just have to be aware to change one of those, else you'll get a result that's kind of not what you're expecting. Another cool example is this. Actually, let me just see. Okay, so these are using a different CSS language that gets compiled. So if you ever see something in here that says like SCSS or less or stuff like that, just change it to view compiled CSS, and it gives you what you need to copy and paste, and it still works. There's different JavaScript libraries that allow you to code CSS differently. So just change it to compiled in the dropdown, and it will give you regular CSS that you're used to. Same with this one. View compiled.
These are really great special effects, Brent. I love them. Can you explain what compiled means?
Good point, John.
Compiled code?
Cool. Think about it like a 3D renderer, right? We just finished using Blender. Blender has 3D models and you apply textures and stuff, but then you have to render it and it gives you an end result. So when you write code with CSS, especially nowadays with animations and a lot of like mathematical features, if you're trying to get exact widths and margins and so forth, many people have developed really advanced libraries for editing CSS. Think of it like a Blender 3D for CSS. Instead of outputting a image, you're outputting CSS. So compiled basically means it takes all their unique language that is special to the program, and it converts it into the final CSS code. That would be much harder to write without using the library. So for advanced animations like this, like about this one in particular, I think this is using more. I think this is really focused on the JavaScript. I think if we delete this, nothing much, just the background's going to disappear. But
May I add to that definition, Brent?
sure.
It's much like compiled code is what the computer understands, and uncompiled or code that you write is what humans can easily understand. Is that reasonable distinction between compiled code, preparing the code to be read by a computer?
Yeah, that's actually, I think, better than mine. It's much briefer. Yeah.
So it's important to understand that many languages require you to compile your code before the computer can read it. Some languages you can write it in human talk and it will automatically compile once you send it to the computer.
All right. And this was just a little animation. It has a lot of CSS to make it work. And again, I have to go to compile. So the cool thing with uncompiled CSS used with different like libraries that you can build with, they let you use variables and what they call mixins and so forth. So you could set a variable like color, and if you want to change, like say you have the color red in 20 places in your style sheet for different fonts or backgrounds, and then you really decide you like the color green instead, or maybe you're changing your website based on the holiday, you change that one variable and it updates your CSS all at once, and you recompile it. So it's more dynamic and more flexible. But for us, as long as we go to compiled, it will show us normal CSS that we're used to. And we don't have to learn anything new to implement this type of stuff into our site right now. But if I wanted to add this, for example, into the site, first I'd have to say, is this important? Overflow hidden. Overflow hidden will make it so I can't scroll. And background is the background color here. But if I want my background, my website different, I can't use that. But then I can take from here down without too much of an issue. But we also use divs and so on. So when I see those, that's when I know if I copy and paste this into my website, I'm probably going to have issues. Whoever wrote this code didn't build it for you to use. They built it as an experiment. It's an all together web page that uses very common tags and assigns values to them, like unordered list, list items, div containers. And when they purely define a div like this without giving it a class, you can tell that they didn't build this thinking about how other people might want to use it. So I'd skip something like this. It's a cool animation, but there's a lot to edit. Then if I come over here, this is another slideshow. But let me use maybe the stars as an example. So it has a canvas element, and then there's Java. Let's see what they say. So it looks like pure JavaScript. So I could copy this in theory. Let's see what happens when I try it. I'm gonna paste it. Now I'm gonna copy, let's see, use strict. Presume that might mean just, might be more of a note to us, but I don't know if that, let's see, let's copy this. And then if I go in here and I go up to my header section, the way I paste JavaScript into my website is just put script, paste. Now sometimes what I find is that JavaScript doesn't work unless you're on a web server, so that's maybe a more complicated thing to actually try to test. So that didn't necessarily go in, but I'll send a link for this slideshow. And if you click on the icon, you can get to the CodePen site, and then you can search animated like icon, for instance, or pure CSS animation. You know, you can find different things. Bouncy car seemed kind of funny. So, well, this has some Java, but you can find really cool examples. What I like to do when I want to find something I don't want JavaScript, just type in pure CSS, and maybe like Rocket, for instance. You'll find people who have built it, like there's no JavaScript. Here I can say view compiled. I see the body tag, but outside of body, and it doesn't look like they do anything too complicated. But I'm just gonna copy this whole thing just for the sake of seeing how it looks, and I'll delete what I have to if it doesn't work right. I'm gonna paste this in my CSS. And this isn't anything specific you guys need to do, but it's just kind of how to navigate CodePen. And then I'm gonna take, this says pug, what I'm gonna do is do compiled HTML. Anytime you see it say something next to HTML or CSS, you just compile it and you get something like this. Much easier for us to look at where we are with web development. I'm gonna paste this where that failed canvas was. Save. And look, it worked. The background of my site was in the CSS. Like I say, be cautious when you copy and paste. So body background color. And they define, so apparently regular CSS supports some variables now, which is cool. Base color, pen color. So whoever wrote this was really, really nice. Watch this. If I change this to F or even white, I can just change this. It's compiled, so I can't actually change that there. If I go to my code where I can edit it, I can change the colors really fast, is what it looks like. So we can do white, save, pen color, let's say blue. So CodePen, you know, it's a little bit hard to navigate until you get more used to things. But if you look up pure CSS, it's pretty easy. to find things that you can copy and paste most of the time. And this link going in the chat box is going to have a very simple slideshow. So if you're at a point where your website has everything it needs, feel free to browse CodePen and try and find some examples you want to implement. I'd start with that slideshow and see if you want to have anything on your home page instead of one picture, have a few pictures slide by. That can make your home page more engaging and interesting. So with that said, let's pass the ball around to see if anyone needs help, and maybe we can start by having someone, just present the problem mission before we take a look at your code, and we'll just make sure everyone has a chance to have any questions answered that they might need. Anyone want to go first?
Me.
Go for it.
Okay, I had a question last week at the end, but we didn't have time. So, well, I also remembered that we can use Blogger from Google.
Oh, to make a website?
Yes. Because one time I at elementary school, I think in 3rd grade, we did something here in Blogger, I remember.
So Blogger, being honest, things like Blogger or WordPress or there's a lot of different frameworks out there for blogging and content management. This you would, I guess, consider, well, it's partially a social, aspect to it. Like, it also has, it manages your content, so it's easier, it's dynamic. You can have posts, but the thing that you lose with Blogger at a glance is like learning the hard code. But Blogger, I think, does support themes that you can customize. So
yes, you can do it through the platform of Blogger or through HTML.
Yeah, the stuff we're learning, you can apply to Blogger to customize it for sure. I'm pretty sure last time I seen Blogger, you could edit the code, right, in Blogger?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would say that's somewhat, I would say almost like the next level where we could go is like something with dynamic. But I think to do that would probably be better like in another workshop series to go that route, just because it's learn a whole platform and then modifying it. But if you ever want to modify Blogger's theme, all you would really have to look for is wherever the theme files are, and you'll see HTML tags and you'll see CSS. The only thing to be cautious of is usually dynamic frameworks like Shopify, WordPress, Blogger, and so on. They have special languages sometimes for their dynamic portions, like page title, post content, images, or they might have like a small variable that like is special to that platform that's not universal. That's like pasted in the HTML to call that dynamic content. So like in the theme, the page title might show up, on every page, but there's one theme file for like a single blog post. And in that page, you would see things like title, post content, post author, and so on, written their own special way. As long as you move those appropriately, like don't miss a quotation or whatever syntax they use, like a funny bracket or something, you should be able to modify the theme with the stuff we're learning right now. Does that make sense, Rodrigo?
Yes.
Okay. That was quite a bit. And maybe at the end, if you poke around and find it, if you want to try and edit it, if it's something that interests you, we could save it for the end of the workshops when there's time. I just don't want to, I don't know if it would help the others as much. At least yet.
Okay.
All right.
Another thing that, yes?
I was just saying, good initiative, though, to want to do that.
Another thing that I found is that in most websites, when I try to sign in using the Chrome page, tab, and that I am using in live to edit the code. You see here. I cannot enter to my accounts, for example, this Gmail.
Oh,
Do you know why does this happen?
So what I noticed is, for me, like, you don't have to stop sharing, but I can just draw it on your screen. And this is a good point to anyone that might be using something like brackets. Down at the bottom of my screen, which I can draw this better with something like this. So I have my my Windows logo and stuff, right? My icon, my taskbar. I see Chrome, so I'm gonna try to draw a Chrome symbol. There we go. But then when I open brackets and I include, I do that connection for the live editing, I see a new Chrome icon appear. So I think that Chrome icon is what you would call like sandboxed, is my theory. Because I notice when I try to use that same, like what you're doing, I go to like Gmail or something, it says I'm not logged in. But in my other Chrome, icon, I am logged in. Like my other instance of the browser. So I think this being I think it's a sandbox environment, which means it kind of quarantines your live connection to like a blank browser instance. And it basically doesn't load your other like logins and stuff. But if you go to, if you look at your bottom of your screen, you'll probably see Chrome is open more than once. See if that shows up for you, and then, but yeah, I would say just reopen Chrome when you want to go to other sites, and then it should already be open as a second.
No. No.
It's not letting you?
No, but look, I will close this tab, this window, sorry. And no. And I will open Chrome again. And now I am signing in.
Okay. Yeah, it's something I think it just, I'm assuming it's a sandbox. And I'm assuming they do that so your private information is not being passed back and forth with brackets. Brackets seems like they're made by some really good developers. And I think they're just privacy conscious. I think most developers are becoming more privacy aware. The latest version of Google Chrome, I think, isn't allowing like certain types of cookies, which, I love cookies, and even web cookies are cool too. But basically, like, some sites are going to have issues with the newer versions of Chrome, I think, and other browsers are going to follow that too. So it's basically forcing people to collect less data. I think brackets is following that trend, or started that way too. All right.
Okay. Well, my doubt here was here. How can I resize these images?
I remember now. Okay. We got like right to the end of the class.
Yes.
So if you want to resize that one box, like that one row, go to the code where the Kumon row is, like in your website.
Here.
Right, so here's something a little more advanced that you can do. When you have so the logic behind what we did was we tried to make it where the divs would stack even, because sometimes if you have a small image or small text, it would be too short and it wouldn't look right, or the sides would be different, the height of the picture and the height of the text would be different, and things would stack kind of funny. So a way we can work around that would be to add another class. So I'm going to give you an example up on the screen. So where it says left, I believe we could say left and then say Kumon. And then we could do right. Kumon. So what we're doing is this is mixing two classes together. Left applies and right applies, but then we can select Kumon and give it a height that's different, and that will affect only these two divs. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Gotcha. So
Excuse me, Brent. Let's make sure Malinali and Paulina are on board here.
gotcha.
Oh, sorry.
Malinali, Paulina, are you following the tricks Brent's presenting?
Yeah.
Great. We'll pass the ball to you after this so that we can follow you as you try to integrate a special effect in your website.
Okay.
Brent, let's try to get to a point where we can pass the ball off to and watch them integrate. Is that reasonable?
Yeah. I don't know if they're actually at the point where they have all their pages done yet. We were showing these tricks in the beginning for anyone that was you know, I think it's mostly Rodrigo that has, because he has a smaller site.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
This is just troubleshooting this part.
Okay. Okay. Great.
But yeah, we can try to keep it so that way we give everyone at least 5-10 minutes to
Great.
look over their shoulder and help them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Malinali and Paulina, make your list of questions or what you want to show us, set it up so that when we pass the ball to you, we can help you. Sorry to interrupt, Brent. I just want to make sure everyone gets involved.
Yeah, definitely.
So where do I write that?
So here, we would do left,
Okay.
and then we would say, come on. Well, the left is okay, but then put a space. And then when you put a space, yeah, like hit the space key after the T, and then type in Kumon. So you can add as many classes as you want to a single element. You could add 30, you could add 1, you could add 50. And basically they go in order. So the code executes in a linear way. What that means in simpler terms is it's like a domino. One domino knocks into the other, right? They go in order. So when the CSS goes to become applied to your website, left and right apply first, but then Kumon, if a CSS gets applied after. So if we define height in Kumon, it's going to overwrite the other height, but only in this one section, because this and this are special to this section, right? So now go to your style sheet, and at the very bottom, make a new class called Kumon, like a dot, Kumon.
With this? With this?
The screen is updating kind of weird. Like it looks like it's showing the HTML and the CSS, like it's fragments. Would you stop sharing and share again? Perfect. Yes, so on line 76, put period Kumon. So actually, this is a good time to refresh that for everyone's sake. The dot means class, the pound sign or the hashtag sign means ID. And when you have nothing, it means it's just the element in HTML. So what you would want because the class is Kuman, would be dot Kuman something like this. 500 is probably not the right number. When it didn't pop up yet. Sorry about that. Let me try again. Okay. Can you see the whole thing, or does it only say the dot Kuman at the top? The screen's loading kind of slow on my end, but if you do something like that, like dot, I'll put it in chat box too, because I think there might be some sort of a little bit of a glitch. Might be on my end. Dot Kuman. Okay, so I just put it in the chat box. Did it work?
No, it appeared like that in the website.
John, do you see the screen kind of like loading it, like fragmented, where it's like sections are loading at different speeds?
Yeah.
Rodrigo, there might be a little bit of a issue with the connection, like internet connection. So I'm not getting like a live update of your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Would you put your code in a zip folder and send it to me in the chat box? I'm gonna pass the ball to someone else, and then what I can do is I can troubleshoot your code and then just show you what I did. So just one zip folder and then send it off.
Can I send it directly in the chat?
Yes, yes, that's perfect.
Great. Let's have a look at what at Paulina and Malinali's website. We have another 10 minutes for Paulina and 10 minutes for Malinali.
Yeah. Don't forget Norman.
And Norman. Wow. Okay. So let's hustle. Okay. Who wants to share first?
No, I could,
Okay,
but
Norman.
I don't have much.
That's all right. We just like to have a look and.
Okay, so this is all I have till now. I'm pretending. Remember what Brent showed us last week with the animations? I don't know how to explain it. Like things move, but I'm not sure if it's possible to. What Brent showed us was that the image moved like to the right, but I would like for it to move to the left, so that the end is like straight. I don't know how to say it.
You want to rotate it like 45 degrees, counterclockwise. I'm gonna doodle on your screen to make sure I got you. But you're basically saying rotate it like 45 degrees, right?
Yeah, like that.
So that way it's like a diamond almost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is doable in CSS. Now, normally my recommendation is do this with in your image editor and then just re-upload it. That's the easiest way.
Oh no, is that I like when I designed the logo?
Yes.
It was like that because my name is Norman Zuniga, so it's like the N and the other letter that I don't remember how it's called. I think it's Z. Is it called?
Gotcha. Let's go. Open up your first. Open up your HTML file, your index.html.
Okay.
Let's make sure we have a class applied to this that we can select.
That's cool, Norman. And morphs into Z and back. I like that.
Like my HTML is this one. So let me copy the.
Well, you can edit the.
I think I didn't save the file, but
Oh,
let me check.
it looks like it's saved in OneDrive based on the URL.
This one?
Yeah, but you can paste the code over it if you want. It looked like in the web browser it was saved to the OneDrive.
Oh yeah.
And then desktop. So this might be your OneDrive desktop. Escritorio, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so let's try to edit this. Ah, we got a game modder. Nice, nice.
Mm,
We should just make all games start with mods. Be more fun.
yeah, no, this is for Minecraft, actually. But oh, here is one, right? Right.
I wonder if your regular desktop is where your website is saved, and it just backs it up to the OneDrive. The website, but
Oh, I'm moving everything. Well,
it's okay. It's okay.
I have it here, so
Yeah, let's just roll with it.
yeah.
So let's find. Go to the part where you have the image.
It's over here.
We need to give it a class. So now, let's not do hover. Hover's too confusing. Let's do. Let's do class equal. Let's call it logo. Ignore this little mess in the corner.
Hola.
So you want to put that inside of here. So put a space after the G.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
like that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. It's cause it was. I have a problem. Thank you. No, nothing.
We can pass the ball to you next. This should only take a couple minutes. I think this should be cool. So you want to actually put it inside.
Oh, okay.
Same way you have like class content, you want to put image class logo.
Like that.
Perfect. Now save. And then open up your CSS.
Okay. I save it like an HTML, right? Or am
Yeah.
I wrong? Yeah.
Yes. This is your HTML index file.
And now the CSS you told me.
Yes.
Here it
Perfect.
is.
Okay. So I would say just scroll down to the bottom. And what we want to put, actually, I could probably put it in the chat box, just so it's a little quicker. Let me share, I'm going to share my screen and show you this part, and I'll just put the code in the chat box.
Okay.
Could you stop sharing?
Okay.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yep.
DIY website on this side. Okay, so in index, I'm just literally gonna paste in near the bottom. You don't have to do it here. You already have your image. I'm gonna add in the image. I'm gonna do class equal logo, just like you have. So we know we have the same type of code, right?
Okay. Yeah.
E equals. All right, so now I have my image. This is my image, the 3 robot heads. Same HTML, and I get a robot head. I stole it from the DIY website. Now up top, I don't have a CSS file. I just did it in line for the example of the slideshow. But ignore all this. What we're gonna do is make this rotate. So dot logo, and we'll say on hover. So hover specifically. Actually, let's not start with hover. Let me just do it like this. I believe it's transform, rotate, and then I think we would say 45 DEG. So you see how that rotates it?
Yep.
So what we do is instead, you might need to do -45.
Yeah, probably.
Whichever way you gotta go. 45 degrees should turn the square to a diamond, roughly. And it should make the N to the Z. Whichever way you gotta go, just negative or not negative. But then you want only when you hover, right?
Yeah.
So this effect, :hover.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you this code to start with, and I'm gonna pass the ball, just so we have time to look at everyone's, and I'll show you how to make that smoother, if we have time at the end.
Okay. And where do I copy that that code?
Paste it into your CSS file,
Whatever or
wherever, top or bottom.
Okay.
Just don't, make sure it's its own section. Like give it a little bit of space between the other classes.
okay.
Perfect. All right, we'll come back and then I'll show you how to do the ease in as well. Ease in meaning like how to make it go slower or faster. But let's take a look at, let's see. Paulina, let's take a quick look at yours and we'll pass the ball to Malinali.
Yes. Can you hear me right?
Yes.
Okay. I have my website and I have a question because you remember that the last time you showed us this, I tried to for the favorite food in the first page to do like the pizza and the spaghetti, but I don't know why it's only like showing one part and not like all parts.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. So this, let's see, shouldn't take too long. So it scales height, width, box, rotate, 15, hover. All right, so when you hover over this image, you said it shows only one part of the image, right?
What?
Background type. Okay, I think I know what it might be. So when you move your mouse over, it changes picture, right? Like it's supposed to,
Yes.
but it zooms in way too much. What I think we need in here, underneath background, so like do a line break, would be, I think it's background. I'm gonna look up the exact code to make sure I don't mess it up, but it's like background cover. I'm gonna paste it on the screen in 1 second. I just wanna make sure I don't mess this up. Okay, so background dash size. So it's gonna be background dash size cover. Give that a try.
Okay.
And what you want to do is make sure you move this. Take the curly bracket and put it underneath the other section. Yeah, so do a line break there and paste. Perfect. Excellent. Now run it and let's see. So what was happening was because it's setting the image to the background, it was just getting too big because it was not like resizing the picture. So when we use the image tag, the img tag in HTML, the whole image is displayed no matter what. And then you tell it how wide or tall to be, but it just stretches the image. with the background, a background is like almost like looking outside through a window. So you don't see all of outside. You have to stick your head out the window to see it all. So basically what we did was we made it so that, you know, we take the whole image and squeeze it into the window. We, the background of the div. So does that make sense how that fixed it?
Yes,
Perfect.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And,
All right.
and the other question is that in projects I have done, I want to put the last website, and I don't know if you can put like the website, like if you click there, you can go directly to my last website.
Oh yeah, definitely. Go to the source code for this. I'll put this in the chat box for you.
Okay.
You can just copy and paste this, but I just want to make sure you know where to put it. Okay, so the code I just put in the chat box is roughly, the code you need. You guys actually, you don't need the, there we go. I had an extra space. But that code, the same thing as a navigation link. Copy like home or hobbies, like with the A around it, paste it where it says a website, and then just change what it says and where it goes. Does that make sense? The navigation, those are just links. So if you go to projects and would you make that notepad bigger?
Yes, sorry.
Thanks, no worries. And a website, perfect. So you see right here, the code in the chat box. You want to put that right there. So, A is a link, href is where the link goes. Then it tells you where to put, and actually yeah, you get it, right?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, let's pass the ball to Malinali just while we have a few minutes left. And if you have any trouble with that, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Malinali, would you like to share?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, good work, everybody. I haven't said that enough. I know we're trying to go fast, but everyone's doing really good.
I second that. I'm impressed that you all are listening to Brandon incorporating his tricks. Very impressive.
All right.
I couldn't put the text in the weight.
Put it in red, you said?
That I couldn't put the text in the weight.
Oh, like side by side?
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at this is your index div-table. Let's look at the HTML file for div-table.html.
This or no?
The div-table.html. I think that was the one you're on.
Sorry.
No worries. Perfect. Okay, I want to make sure that we're loading our style sheet, which it looks like we are. That's my first thought. Style sheet.css. There's no curly quotes. That looks solid. That looks good to me. So that's my first thought, was look there. Then would you scroll down a little bit? A bit more? So like where you have the content. Yeah, right around here. So div table tr td and data column 1. Scroll down a little more. Okay, so this template looks like it wasn't the one everyone else started with because it doesn't have like the left right column, which is okay. But let's make sure that you might have put the style sheet, the newer template with an older style sheet or vice versa. So let's open up your style.css file. We'll take a look in there and see if we tell these boxes what to do correctly.
Sorry.
No, no worries, this is good. Scroll down. TR, okay, stop here. This is perfect place to stop. So display table, TR is table row, TD is table cell. Okay. So we're using display type. Okay, so this is definitely a different template, but it doesn't look broke. Width is 100%. Table width is 560. This should just fill it up. And this, it looks like these must auto set. Would you scroll down further? Footer, okay. Okay. Let's go back because the code doesn't seem necessarily like anything's, nothing jumps out at me that it's broke at a glance. Would you go back to your text edit program with the HTML that's open? Okay, so these are going 100% wide. Div class div.td. So we have div.tr, div.td. Those are assigned. Would you scroll up just a little bit on that one? Or actually, could you make that full screen? That the text edit program. I think the green one, right? I'm much of a mess. Perfecto. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so class table, class tr. So class table forces a div to act like a table. Then we tell it has a row. Then we say td, class td, which we defined it to act like a column. Column. Maybe we need to give these widths. I don't know. There's no minimum set. The image is 200 pixels, so the other TD should get the difference. Do you know how to zip this to send it to me? Like how to put these files in an email or the chat box? Basically, like in your folder where your files are, you want to select them all, and then I think there's a way. Yeah, so select all of these files. Perfect. And then can you like, do you know how to send those to a zip, like a single folder, like a zip folder?
Try right-clicking. Try right-clicking on one of them. I don't see a zip here.
I think.
Compartir. Oh, that's good. Oh, very good, Malinali.
But no. Not
They're all files, Brent, so might just.
Yeah, it might be easy to just, if you could send me 2 files for now.
Okay.
The files that I'd like you to send me would be this one and this one, because we're getting close to the end. Actually, we're a few minutes over. If you could put those in the chat box or email them to me, either one, I could take a look at that tonight. I think there's some element that is allowing those divs to go 100% wide. but nothing looks like it's broke. So what I think is that it might be a syntax error in the CSS, like a bracket missing or something. I just want to take a look at it and I can let you know what I find. You can just send them via like Gmail or whatever you use for your email. You can drag and drop them, or you can put them in the chat box right now. Like if you stop sharing, the chat box should pop up. I can actually.
Oh, do you see chat at the bottom? Hi, Salvador. Hold on 1 second. We're almost finished.
Hi.
So if you click where it says file, and there's off to the right side, you should see Zoom chat. When you click on file, you should be able to find your files and open them, and then it should be able to send it to me right in Zoom. All right, so Noman, Paulina, Rodrigo, good work. Feel free to go. Malinali might just be on a minute just to send. Okay, perfect. I see the first one. Downloading it.
Great job, guys. I'm also impressed not only with your websites, but how you're using the tools, how you're using Zoom, and you're very fluent on your computer. Nice to see that. Okay, Brent, I'm going to stop sharing for Pablo. And
okay, perfect. Yeah, this is perfect to send. And then Malinali, I'm going to look over this.